Kelim Perik Yudaled Mishnah base. We're carrying on with Kli Matchas. This time we're joining the Kli Matchas. We've done this before. Together with Kli Eitz, we have a Keli, which is a hybrid of metal and wood. And let's start the Mishnah. Makel, a stick. A basic stick, like a walking stick. She'asa boroi shoy masmor. You put a big metal peg on top. Kemin chezyona, so that it looks like a chezyona. But Tanura tells us a chezyona was a metal ball stuck on the top of a stick. So the stick itself is pashut. It's a pshutik leit. The stick is not able to be makabel tumah per se by in its own right. However, it's got the metal ball on top. We don't know the tachlis of this metal ball. It seems that it's just a symbol of status. Something which a choshev person holds in his hands. I've got the stick. This is my scepter. Because the stick, the wooden stick, holds the metal ball is the ikka, and therefore, Tomei, it's got a din of Kli Matchas. Simroi, if instead of having a metal ball at the top, you've got your stick, and at the top you put a bunch of metal pegs, turning it into a lethal weapon, not something you want to meet on a dark night in an alleyway. So you put these metal nails, pegs coming out, holding this wooden stick so that you can use it as a weapon. Of course, Tomei, because the ikka are the pegs, therefore the whole thing gets a din of a Kli Matchas. Reb Shimon Omer, he says if you don't have 3 rows of pins, of pegs, of metal needles, whatever they call them, then it's not choshev. It's ineffective. You've got to have 3 rows for it to be considered a Kli Matchas, to be considered a weapon. If, however, the purpose of the metal pegs, the metal pins, is just to make the stick look nice, then we are back to the old rule that it's in fact the metal which is serving the eight. Is a case of mateches hamashamesh so eights, because the ikka is the wood and the pin, the ornament, is made out of metal, and the rule is a matches, which is mashamesh so eights. You go according to the eights, and because the eight is a pshutikli eight, it's tahor. Carry on. Back to our ordinary wooden stick, no metal, no pins, no balls, nothing. Just a walking stick. Also boroisho menikus. At the end, the bottom of the stick, the bit which you bang on the ground, you take a little piece of metal piping, a metal casing, and make a little cap at the bottom of the stick. Now, the purpose of this cap is not clear in the Baal Tanura. The din is going to be tahira, because it seems that this metal cap actually, in this part of the Mishnah, dealing with the menikus at the end of a stick, is there just made lanoi. Then for sure, the metal is meshamash the eights, and the stick with this metal cap is tahor. Then the Mishnah adds the words, v'chein bedeles. You have a door, and underneath the door you put a metal piece of piping, like a little metal tube, so that to protect the bottom of the door from becoming damp and rotting. So the mateches is actually doing a job, and it's doing a very important job. It's actually keeping the door in place. Nevertheless, it's being meshamish, a piece of eight, which is mechuba lekarka. It becomes bottle to the binyan, bottle to the house, and therefore the menikus by itself is tahor. Now comes a very important din. Hoi so kli. This menikus which you attach to a door or to a stick, before you attach it, was a kli in its own right, and was able to be makabel tumah by being a kli in its own right. Once you are a kli which is able to be makabel tumah, you can't just get rid of the tumah or get rid of the ability to be makabel tumah by fixing it to a wall. If you take a chair and affix it to a wall, it's still makabel tumah. The only way something loses its ability to be makabel tumah by being mechuba lekarka is you mechabit lakarka, and it cannot do its original job. So if you just take this manikas, which was a kli, v'chibroloi, and you stick it to a door or to a stick, because the manikas was already had a shem kli, and it can still be used as a kli, it can still have its function of protecting whatever it's doing, therefore it doesn't lose its shem kli, and it's tomei. That's a very important rule. There's different ways of learning this Mishnah. We'll do the pshat of the Ravid, which seems to be the pshat of the Baal Tanura. In other words, the Mishnah had just said that just attaching, fixing the manikas to a door, because it was a kli, remains a kli after you attach it, and it's still makabel tumah. But what do you have to do? What do you have to do when you want to attach it to a door to actually ruin it and make it lose its shem kli? So B'Shammai say, they're very machmir. They say, Misha yechabel, you've actually got to ruin the kli. You've actually got to twist it and bend it so that it cannot be used in its original way. And under the rules we just mentioned before, when you mechaber a kli to karka, you also got to change its original use. And B'Shammai say that's done by ruining it. You don't just there's different ways of learning. But this way of learning is that the v'chibroloi I mentioned before is different from the mishi chaber now. V'chibroloi before just meant to attach it, to stick it. Here mishi chaber means actually to fix it, pound it in with nails, and do it extremely, extremely tight and fixed with screws more than nails. In such an oifen chazak that it actually becomes bottle, despite the fact that it was already a kli in its previous gilgul. And that's Mishnah base.